Hello everyone, watch this review here. They look at the Joker from Mattel's Batman classic TV series. Originally a figure I wasn't planning on picking up. I saw him on display at Toy Fair or someplace, and the mold just didn't appeal to me, especially with the pointed finger and everything. But then when I saw his image on Amazon, where I also had accidentally pre-ordered him when I meant to pre-order the Riddler, the mold that I saw looked completely different, so I figured, what, I already have them on pre-order, I'll just get them anyway, because I think these figures are pretty neat. But of course, when he arrives, it looks exactly like the one at Toy Fair. I'll show you the one on Amazon in a second. At any rate, you know how they usually have a sort of quote up here where it sounds like it's something from the show. This one is Holy Interplanetary Yardstick. I don't think that was ever on the show, and if it was, I'd be really interested in the episode and context for it. Because that one's just completely bonkers. And right in the back of the box we have this wacky image of the Joker in a green tuxedo, which seems completely out of character for the, character, so really not sure what's up with that. There's a little bit of a read up here. Again, kind of a throwaway. Hold on a second. Alright, so this is the image that Amazon currently has up for the Batman Classic TV series Joker. As you'll notice, it's not even close to being what we actually got. I'm not sure where they got this image from, but if you look at it, the head sculpt's completely different, and the whole body is just, let's try to sculpt down here. If it looks similar, that's because it's the same body used for the DC Universe Classics Joker, so it's really confusing. But of course, when I saw this figure and I saw that the hands were normal, I was thinking, yeah, I kind of do want this, but, it's, again, nothing like it. As with the other figures in this line, Joker comes with a base. In this case, it has Zap on it, which, not quite something you'd hear come up in one of the action sequences, or fight scenes. It is a very character-specific action noise, considering that he has his little joy buzzer, as well as a card, which has some pretty decent art there. On the back of the card, we once again have a scene here, but for the first time, I actually have a piece that goes with this diorama. So this connects to this, and we see part of the Batcave here. Now I know that Batman comes with a piece, I think, that connects to Riddler's, so I guess if you buy everything, you'll eventually have a sort of panorama of the Batcave. Panorama is kind of a funny word. Never know if it's pronounced panorama or panorama, or doesn't really matter, eh? At any rate, let's just bring him up close for a second before I start talking about some other stuff or wind into another ramble. Again, not so much liking this figure, but I'll get into that in a second. First, for a little height comparison, let's bring in the Riddler. So he's a pretty tall figure, very tall. I can't remember how tall he was in the show, but this is kind of tall by comparison. Let's also bring in the DC Universe Classics Joker, which actually was one of the best in the line, against this, which, clearly won't be anywhere near close to the best. So it's also interesting how tall he is even against the Joker, but for another comparison, just because I'm bringing stuff in here, let's bring in the DC Universe Classics Batman. So he's almost to scale with 7-inch figures, or at least in terms of just height. Maybe not necessarily like full scale, because maybe the Joker is supposed to be a bit taller than that, but it's kind of crazy. It's just a really, really tall figure. Now, there are a lot of things I don't like about this figure. First off, it's this jacket, which actually is glued into place, so it's also kind of funky, as opposed to this one, which was just slid onto him, so you could actually see the sculpt underneath. This one kind of can't, although the sculpting is clearly nothing like that. No, it's not quite like that. But it looks like he has an ab crunch underneath here, although I don't think you'd ever be able to use it. Huh. Yeah. At any rate, one of the reasons why I'd rather not buy online, sometimes you get defects. In this case, he's got this mark on his forehead here. I mean, beyond that, if you look at his face here, which again is nothing like the face we saw on Amazon, it's got this kind of weird dark pattern all around the face and chin. Now it's appropriate for right here underneath his nose because, as people probably are aware, Cesar Romero, I think it's pronounced Cesar, just basically had people paint over, apply makeup to his mustache. I mean, the dude had a mustache, and rather than to like shave it off at the show or anything, cause, he's a very famous Latin actor or whatever. He just had people apply makeup onto it, so it would make sense that we'd have a bit of sculpting for it, and maybe like a discoloration or anything. But the rest of it, I don't recall him sort of having sort of different color for that, although the card seems to reference it, so where it looks a little bit darker there. Yeah. But, I mean, the few episodes that I've gone back and watched, I don't, again, recall anything like that being on the character's face, so not sure what's up with that. Now, it's kind of odd because the legs, I mean, at first glance, the sculpting does look similar, but I guess it's a much thicker mold here. And I guess there are only so many different ways you can sort of put together the legs, but yeah. The shoes kind of remind me of like the standard Minimates one, so I'm wondering if they just took that and recycled a bit or whatever. But and beyond that, it's just not a good-looking figure. Part of that's because of the sort of issue where they have this material jacket, and for this portion, it's just unpainted, it's just cast into purple plastic, but if you look at the arms, it's like a different color plastic. It's like a deeper, sort of glossy plastic as opposed to this flat one here, which completely doesn't blend. We also get a really glossy color for the, what's that, like a tie, an ascot? I don't even know what the heck that thing is. Which again, completely clashes against the flat jacket, which, by the way, isn't even like a well-sculpted jacket. Just sort of fits the character really clumsily. It looks awful. It's completely bad. I mean, I wasn't entirely fond of the jacket that they had on Penguin here, but compared to this, this looks a lot better. I mean, this is definitely the weakest figure that I've picked up so far. Which again, is kind of disappointing, because I do like the villains from this show. And of course we have a bit of shadowing here on the back. I don't know, it just seems like they sort of phoned this one in. And I still don't understand what the point of the finger is. I don't really recall the character doing a lot of pointing or anything, but I don't know, maybe it's specific to one episode. I mean, who knows. At any rate, we have a point of rotation here at the wrist. We have a single pin here at the elbow. Rotation right above the elbow. This sort of typical bicep joint, except for it's a lot lower. The shoulder has rotation, kind of, then outward motion. It's sort of impeded by the jacket in the case of the rotation, and the outward really isn't a lot. We have waist rotation. We have an ab crunch, but he can't use it. The jacket, I think, is just too thick. There's a T-joint here at the hip. Point of rotation of the knee. Single pin here at the knee. And then at the ankle we have the sort of usual forward back. So I mean, very standard. Again, just disappointed with this. So far these are the only 3 figures that I picked up from the line. I'm holding off on buying the Catwoman because I'm hoping they'll do a masked version. And I really prefer seeing the Catwoman with the mask. The Batman and Robin, I might pick up the 2-pack, or I might just wait and hope that they release versions that have like plastic capes, because I'm not so much a fan of the cloth capes. I've never been a fan of cloth capes. In fact, it's just a sort of material thing where it just seems inconsistent. And of course, I think cloth degrades a lot faster than plastic. Plastic, I think, lasts like 50 years in the ground or something. Although obviously, it's be on a shelf, not in the ground. But yeah, I'm just not that impressed. I mean, I'm actually curious if anybody out there sort of likes this one, and why they might like this one. I mean, you do sort of have to have a Joker for your collection. And while I'm sure that we'll get different looks for the Joker, because he was one of the more iconic characters in the show, I think he had about as many episodes as the Penguin, and they were sort of tied for like having the most appearances. But it's been a while, so I can't really recall these sort of statistics or what have you. I'm sure that we'll see another version of him eventually. He was in from the Surf's Up Batman episode. AP, the character, appeared in the Surf's Up Batman episode, so I'm wondering if at some point we might get a surfing Joker as well, which might be kind of neat, 'cause then you can sort of just I wouldn't say reenact, but you can sort of display them like they're sort of surfing, what have you. But I mean, with a character like the Joker, I'm sure we'll see him again. Other characters that I'm really hoping to see in the line at this point, Batgirl, obviously. Well, I don't like season 3 as much, and usually it's actually because of Batgirl, where she's just sort of shoehorned in there. I actually liked the character a lot. I thought the portrayal was kind of neat. I'm also hoping we'll see an Egghead, Vincent Price's character, King Tut. King Tut would be awesome as well. But those are the three big ones, and hopefully this line is successful enough to at least give us those three additional characters, as well as maybe a masked Catwoman, maybe a Mr. Freeze. By the way, fun fact, Mr. Freeze got the name Mr. Freeze from the TV show. Prior to that, he was known as Mr. Zero in the comics, apparently, which I didn't know until recently. But yeah, until next time, folks.